So we all know that Percy Jackson is coming to Disney Plus with a live action TV series with Mytho Magic Productions, and we're all incredibly excited. And I am one of those people. But I want to get into something that's kind of a sort of prediction, sort of fun little thing here, of basically saying how I, in my opinion, would be interested to see Book 1, The Lightning Thief, to be adapted for the show, and just my general predictions for how the show is going to flow. So let's get into it. Alright, so the way in which I think the Percy Jackson show is going to be is that it's going to be a 10 episode, 30 to maybe 40 minute series. I don't really have any evidence as to why I think it's going to be 10 episodes, but from how the content for the books are, I think they're going to do 10 episodes instead of their usual 6 to 8 for the kids shows that they've done. So I'm thinking they'll probably follow more the style of what they've been doing for like Marvel, but maybe a little bit different, because I don't think they'll have hour-long episodes, because it is still targeted for a young audience. So 30, maybe 40 minute, probably only 40 minutes for maybe the first and last episode for like special episode sort of situations, but most likely to be 30-minute, because that is how most kids shows go on Disney Plus. 10 episodes is a little bit different, because I don't think there's many series that have 10 episodes, except for maybe What If? I don't know. I didn't actually finish that series, but there's a conversation for a different day. So I've broken it down into 10 episodes and what I think each of those 10 episodes will cover. So episode 1 is our introduction to Percy, Grover, Chiron, and then of course ending with the Mrs. Dodds fight. And then the little bit of kind of like no one knowing what the heck Percy is talking about. The second episode is one that I like to call Gaslight, Gatekeep, Chiron. Because it's going to be the episode where they're gaslighting Percy into believing that he's insane, and then he goes home to his mum. This is where it would change slightly, because I kind of would rather see them go straight to the Montauk like vacation home situation. I'm one of those people where I'm kind of okay with Gabe being cut out, unless he's going to be developed a lot better and not just be there just to be an abusive person to then be murdered by Sally. That then brings in questionable morals for Sally's character. I'd probably just not have him featured, because he doesn't necessarily have to be. I know the whole thing of like, oh, we've got to have someone make Percy look like a terrorist. He's going to look that way either way when bad things happen. Like, you don't need someone adding more to it. But that's a conversation for another day. So episode 2 is the gaslighting, going home. Episode 3 is Montauk, and Sally leaves, disappears, goes missing, supposedly dead. Episode 4 is then where we meet Camp Half-Blood and all the incredible things about that, and obviously are introduced to Annabeth, Luke, but also we get the message from the Oracle. Now I know most people would probably want to have the whole, God, what's it called? Capture the flag. We don't have it here in the UK. I couldn't remember what it was called. But I think we could kind of just have that done in general. Considering how concise these are going to have to be, based on the fact that the episodes probably aren't going to be very long, and there probably aren't going to be many episodes, I don't know if you have time to just have the capture the flag scene. I think you could just have him have that arrival at Camp Half-Blood, and then have the Oracle reveal that he's a son of Poseidon and the issues that come with that, and then he has to go on this whole situation. This whole quest. We then go into episode 5, which is where he's leaving to go on this quest with Annabeth and Grover, and they end up at the Gateway Arch. Yes, I had to look it up. So they end up at the Gateway Arch, and he jumps off of it, he gets the pearls, we meet the Chimera situation, and so we get a few more hints as to what's happened to Sally, but we're also getting a few more hints and understanding of how Percy's powers work in that episode. We then go into episode 6, where we meet, obviously, the main antagonist, or the seemingly main antagonist for this book, Ares. And maybe, if there's time to fit it in, having the love ride adventure of just showing how petty and kind of dickish these gods are, because we need that for what's going to happen at the end of this season. Episode 7 is then all Lotus Casino related content, and then making their way to Hades, because that is what Ares has advised, and also kind of what they figured from the Oracle. Episode 8 is meeting Hades, finding out about what happened to his mum, and then realising that he has to use the pearls and leave his mum behind to figure out what's actually going on, because he knows that Hades is not the one responsible. Episode 9 is the fight with Ares and the return home. And just kind of figuring out that there's more things that just aren't quite right with the situation, with the Ares mentioning about dreams and how he shouldn't, and not really having any idea what's happened with this whole situation. And clearly he's not the one in control. Editing Fran here, who was incredibly embarrassed. I realised I actually completely forgot about the scene where they go back to Olympus. I don't know how I managed to forget that. Maybe that can be put into episode 9, at the end of episode 9, they end up back on Olympus, they just get like zapped there. And then we go into episode 10 and they're back at like the end of that, and then going into Camp Half-Blood again. I'm kind of embarrassed now. Then we go into the finale. Now I feel like the finale and the first episode should be sort of extended episodes. They're the ones that are maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. And that's when they're returning to camp. They're being praised as heroes, and then Percy goes off with Luke, and Luke reveals that he is the true antagonist of the series, with Kronos being the person leading it all. Percy nearly dies, and they realise, things are just not going to get any better from here. And maybe possibly have some hints of the whole Talia situation, because obviously that's some hints going into Sea of Monsters. But yeah, that's just a mini breakdown of what I could see the episode being. I know there's a lot of information that has been missed in these kind of little parts here, and I think that's going to be the main issue with this series, is that depending on how many episodes there's going to be a lot from the books that's going to have to be cut. So the ones that I picked in particular are the ones that I feel have the most important information to the story and to the characters. In the Lotus Casino, for example, we learn a bit more about Annabeth's background, about like on their way there, the situation going on. We're seeing a bit more of like Percy's abilities and his understanding of how to get out of these situations. We're getting the hints of like how shitty these gods can be. And even with like the Arch episode, we're getting understandings of Percy's powers. I can't speak properly today. And so I don't know, I think the breakdown that I've kind of come up with is a good example of the things that are going to be most important, because the whole situation is we're not going to be able to keep everything, because there is no way we're probably getting more than 10 episodes for this season, because that doesn't seem to be the done thing with the Disney Plus series at the moment. It predominantly seems to be just 8 episodes max, maybe 10. There doesn't seem to be more than that, which is kind of surprising, and I don't fully understand it. I mean, there's a different conversation. But then for the fact that it's also a children's show, it's most likely not going to be longer than 30 minutes, 40 minutes at the max, which then leaves you kind of fighting for time to make sure you've got all the relevant information in there for both this book and what goes on forward for the rest of the plot throughout the whole series. So yeah, I think this is a breakdown that kind of makes sense. But what do you guys think? What do you think specifically needs to be in this series on, well, as a whole, for the importance? Or what things do you specifically want there, even if it's not necessarily important to have, it's just something you want to see? Whatever the case, let me know in the comment section down below. I would be intrigued to hear your thoughts on this, and I may do some more predictions about these, or breakdowns or thoughts on the live action in future, so keep an eye out for that. But as always, thank you all so much for watching this video. I truly do appreciate it. Check out the links to my social media in the description box. Keep an eye out, because the first pre-orders for my short story will be coming out soon, so keep an eye out on that. Hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, drop a thumbs up, comment, share with your friends, and yeah, again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.